Welcome to Plain Talk on WIMC Radio. The views and opinions expressed on Plain Talk are of the host, its guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views of the IMC Club or IMC Club International.
Brussels National Departure Quebec 0954. Runway 25 right for departure. Taxiway Echo 5 closed.
See, this takes so much energy, guys. All right.
JetBlue 1012, Lieutenant November, join Alpha, contact Ronald. Good afternoon.
6 knots.
Clear to land. My great 3 left 4. You guys should come up here one day. You'd enjoy it. You'd enjoy the show.
Clear to land, 3 right. Okay, I got you.
Thank you very much.
Initial contact, you have.
And live from behind the golden microphones of the IMC Radio, you're listening to Plain Talk. We're back. I'm Derek Lagasse here with Radek Vijakowski and John Roberts. The old crew is reunited.
That's right. Here we are, the original trio here.
It's been a while since we did an original three show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do we got on deck for today, guys?
How's weather in Florida, John?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Kind of warm. Thunderstorms every afternoon, lifting air, Pretty nice. Can't complain.
IMC, VMC, what are we talking about here?
Just in general, just the weather, just the VMP.
The GMC, General Meteorological.
VMP, the visual flight rules in the pool. VMP.
There we go. Yeah, little windy here and cloudy and rainy in Boston.
All right.
But it's not snowing yet.
Oh, okay. I live about a mile from one of those cute little grass strip airport. Little airport with a bunch of homes on it with very, very wide garage doors.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a little air pocket's closed. It says, warning, low-flying aircraft. And I haven't seen one yet, but I'm looking.
So speaking of closed airports, we have a couple of those to talk about today. We have some updates on both Santa Monica and Meigs Field to chat with you guys about today. And I hear we have news coming out of Flying Magazine. Isn't that right, Radek?
Yes, it is. It was big news. What was it? 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. But Robert Goyer, my friend Robert Goyer, editor-in-chief of Flying for 5 years, and he's been with Flying for 20 years altogether, I believe.
So I didn't realize it's that long.
Yeah, it's the end of an era. I mean, it's like something has ended there, and he is not editor-in-chief. In fact, he left Flying Magazine. According to him, it wasn't his choice. And my question is, why is it happening? Where are we heading with it?
I hate reporting on these stories on Plain Talk because it feels like we have far too many of these. I mean, wasn't it just it feels like just yesterday that we were talking about another prominent, advocate for general aviation.
Adam Smith.
Yep.
AOPA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. And when you talk to those people, I mean, those are the people that any large organization should want to retain. I mean, those are the people that truly care about general aviation and about the real general aviation. That's what I'm talking about. Regular pilots at local airports, not big organizations, big corporations, and a lot of big money exchanging hands somewhere there on the top.
And a lot of people don't realize how valuable the little people in aviation are. I mean, when people think about aviation, we jump really quickly to all the corporate guys and the airlines and all the big shiny jets. But us little guys in our single-engine piston airplanes, occasionally multi-engine, occasionally instructing, make a big difference in aviation.
Yeah, but when we talk about little people, John, we're not talking, of course, about 5 foot. 5 inches pilots versus 6 feet 2, like myself. It's So what do you think, John? I mean, what is happening? Is this the direction that we really want to go to?
Well, it seems like the general aviation, even 20 years ago, There were so many more people getting into it. It's a different era. Maybe it's different now with the computers, the technology. I think the biggest thing that's really been the most difficult thing to me is probably just the price of fuel in general aviation, the 100 low, that stuff. It really reflects how many people go to the airport and how many people want to learn to fly. It's just the ripple effect's unbelievable. I mean, our little home airport back home, back in the day, they sold so much more fuel. There were so many more airplanes, it seems like people, is it just going to be the small jets now and the bigger airports are going to take over? And, that's where a lot of these pilots come from. They got to start somewhere. And not to mention the nostalgia of it and the love for GA. It's different today. What is it? I wish I knew.
Yeah, but we need somebody who is going to project it to other people. We need people that truly can go out there, and who else but somebody who is an editor of the large magazine.
Oh, yeah, it has to be somebody. You mean somebody in media? So
yes, it's because media by itself, they do absolutely nothing. They actually work against aviation and every single thing. I mean, Robert Goyer, he was on CNN, and he was probably one of the very few real experts. I remember him talking, I forgot which accident it was, but he was the only guy who was saying, no, wait a second. It's not, the way you are reporting it. That's not true. It's almost like saying, no, wait a second. Stalling doesn't mean that we're turning off the engine when the practice stalls. And everybody else, I mean, when I listen to, media like CNN on general aviation, a lot of times, most of the time, things that they are saying, I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, we've heard that. Yeah, we've heard that enough, reporting on stuff. How come you never hear, Norwood Airport, 222,972 safe landings since 1980?
Yes.
How many landings on the job since our last accident? Like one of those little ticker signs at a company.
Yeah.
So the one thing we can definitely promise, we are going to get Robert Goyer on our show. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to be hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to.
We'll ask him all those questions.
Yeah, I'd love to ask him. Maybe he could find another perch somewhere high up in GA that he could, advocate GA for. Maybe I'm sure he's maybe out, but he's not down. Down but not out, so to speak. Who knows? Maybe he could. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years, a long time, Radek.
Yeah, it is. And if somebody decides on leaving, that's a big thing.
I would speculate there was a real conflict in policy.
And see, that's exactly what scares me, because if somebody like Robert, who is really committed to general aviation, to us pilots, has a conflict with the corporation that prints the magazine, that tells me that the corporation has to be on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no any other choice, because if they're both on the same side, then there's no conflict.
Yeah. Right. And Flying Magazine is kind of like the Bible of GA.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, yeah.
It was. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. It should be interesting. Hey, I was just online here, and I'm seeing an interesting Robert Goyer Cirrus. Did you ever hear this one? Robert Goyer Cirrus R22 in mid-air collision. This is not now, but
that was years ago. But
We'll have to ask
he wasn't in it. So
but that's a funny thing to say. It's like Radek Vysokovsky's airplane was in a mid collision. Yeah. Radek was with his mom in Poland. Interesting.
So Derek, what do you want to talk about now?
Speaking of meteor and different things like that, we had a big meteor event from the NTSB that happened just this week. Any guys remember the Gulfstream crash that happened over at Hanscom Field last year?
Yep, I remember it very well. It's right in our backyard.
That's right.
pretty much. So the NTSB actually came up with their final investigation, their final safety report, including a major safety alert that states a critical need for flight crews to perform checklists before every takeoff.
Really?
Yeah.
Great idea.
Tell us something we don't know, right? So they found in their final findings the primary cause was a long-term pattern of failing to complete pre-flight checklists. They found that, say, out of 175 past flights, the crew had skipped the flight checks on every flight except for 2.
Okay. Okay, Derek, John, I have a question to both of you.
Okay.
In your last 20 flights, how many times you skipped at least one checklist?
I've done it.
And
I'll admit it.
Be honest.
I'll admit it.
Be
I've skipped a
honest.
checklist before. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On the past 20, I can say because I'm such a low time guy, I'm still. I don't think I've done that yet. I'll tell you what I have done.
You've done every single checklist, like before landing, even if there are 2
Oh, no.
items on it.
Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. No, to me, the takeoff checklist is I don't want to overlook something there for sure. But like when you're at altitude, like descending, of course, like
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there are things that we can miss. That's the whole thing. So many times we don't do after landing. You clear the runway,
Yeah.
you're sitting there and actually you're doing the checklist on the go, which is not allowed, by the way. And you're, few switches, lights off, transponder, actually now it stays on altitude, and flaps retracted, and we're good to go. And since we're doing it so many times, we feel like we don't have to do it because, it's all obvious there are only a few switches. So now, why are we so upset when those pilots who were flying this airplane over and over again, they felt like, we know that's a routine. So there are only a few switches that we have to flip here. So we don't have to do a checklist.
I've done it, but I'm not proud of doing that. I whenever I've not completed a checklist, the next flight almost after that, I feel guilty about it. Or the next flight, I'm almost like, oh man, I better do that. Even if you neglect it again, it's that little voice in the back of your head saying, hey, that you can't do it. You're not supposed to. I guess I got trained well that there's like this little CFI sitting on my shoulder all the time saying, hey, do the checklist, do the checklist, do the checklist. But this accident, I guess, really goes to show you that, no matter how many hours you have, no matter how experienced you are, no matter whether you're flying a Gulfstream or a Piper Cub, complacency can come and get you. And that one time you need the checklist is that time that you forget that one critical item.
Yeah.
So I'm actually obsessive with checklists for a number of reasons. I mostly train commercial pilots and CFIs these days. And for me, it's extremely important that when they go on their check rides and they move forward, that they will come across as a professional pilots. So there is absolutely no exception. We do checklists every single time that we have to do checklists, and we have certain routine. That's one thing. But also, I think it's especially when you move from airplane to airplane, it's extremely important because there could be one switch that you may forget. I never forget story that actually Doug Stewart was telling me about one of his friends, very good friends, who was being checked out in retractable, and then his instructor actually, or he was getting his license in retractable, I don't remember. Basically, his instructor was there with radio on the field when he was flying his traffic pattern solo, and he's coming in for landing without gear. So gear is retracted. And his instructor is yelling through the radio, he said, gear, put down the gear. He comes closer, instructor says, go around. And he lands, of course, gear up, and on the runway, nothing bad happened. Airplane is damaged, and instructor runs to him, says, why didn't you? I was yelling at you over the radio. It says, I couldn't hear a damn thing because of that buzzer going on all the time.
Oh, geez. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to me, the gear up, gear down is the quintessential reason for reading or not reading a checklist. I mean, that's almost one of the few things that's almost, it's amazing it happened. It even happened once in all of history that someone, how can you forget something like put the gear down? I mean,
or remove the control lock.
It happens.
Yeah.
So what I do personally is in my mind, I don't say it out loud always unless I fly by myself. I would say before landing on my checklist, gear down, even if I'm in a fixed gear. So this way, I'm always going to transfer that routine when I go.
I see. Yeah.
Down and welded.
Yes, and if I'm in fixed gear down. Yeah, it is down. It's not moved, but it is down. So I'm just acknowledging the fact that gear is down.
Mm-hmm. And locked.
Yeah.
I hope it's locked if it's a fixed gear.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's extremely important to do those checklists. But let me tell you, and Derek, you're new CFI.
Yeah.
So now when you go out there and you will do flight reviews and so on, which, by the way, I was going to ask you on the air one quick question here.
Okay.
Put you on the spot. My flight review is out. So I was going to ask you if I could schedule some time with you if you would do my flight review.
Is this going to be like a new thing now for pilots? Like we have to do elaborate proposals for when we do our flight review or something like that? Yes, Radek. Yes, I will do your flight review.
You accept. Okay.
I accept.
Okay.
Beautiful. Now music comes on.
Yeah. I'm the witness.
All right. Great. Well, I think this is a pretty good place to leave it here, or whatever it is. So I'm going to take a quick commercial break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about closing airports. Is it a good idea? We'll be right back, guys.
Why is it a bad idea?
Did you miss a show? Go to our Plane Talk library at imcclubs.org.
Hey, here comes a plane. Give me that laser. Bullseye!
Control from Flight 255. Our cockpit just received a laser beam strike from my 3 o'clock. Notify police of my location.
Hitting an aircraft with a laser is no laughing matter. It's dangerous for both pilots and passengers, and it's a crime, punishable by federal jail time and large fines. If you see someone targeting an aircraft with a laser, call 911.
This episode of Plane Talk is brought to you by Above the Clouds. Above the Clouds is a non-profit organization whose mission is to bring joy and hope to seriously ill, disabled, and disadvantaged children through the wonder of small aircraft flight. Help us accomplish our mission by becoming a dream pilot for Above the Clouds, or apply to become a CFI in our Cadet Flyer program. Aviation is a huge part of your life. Now it's time to give back. Learn more about our program at AboveTheCloudsKids.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Come fly with us today.
Welcome back to Plane Talk, folks. All right, guys. So we now get to talk about the wonderful topic of closing airports. So
okay, but let's tell people who we are first.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Somebody could be tuning in.
In case you just forgot, you're listening to Plane Talk, and I'm Derek Lagasse, here with the original three.
John Roberts.
Okay, John Roberts, you're first. Go ahead.
Okay, and John Roberts, and welcome back to Plane Talk, everybody. I'm here with Radek and Derek.
And cool. Yeah, I'm in Boston. Roberts is in Florida. Derek is somewhere in undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location from the secret IMC bunker. So, two interesting stories crossed the news, my news wire this week that I thought you guys would be interested in. One about an airport that has already closed. It's pretty famous in aviation folklore. And the other one that may be on the verge of meeting the same fate. The first one we're talking about is, of course, Meigs Field, quite famously known airport in Chicago that got closed in quite the spectacular fashion, if any of you guys remember that.
Oh God, yeah. Not only we remember that, but
Doesn't-
remember it very well because that airport was on the cover of first Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
That was my first airport I went to in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always my dream to fly there myself. And that dream was never fulfilled because when I was ready to do it and could afford it and could do it, that airport closed.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the month, actually, you guys remember how long ago it was when they bulldozed those X's in the runway? Just at the beginning of this month, September 1st here, or actually not September 1st, I'm sorry, September 3rd, they opened the park that took the place of Meigs Field finally. So, it took, 12 years probably for them to build this park. Including a 5-acre lagoon and a walking biking path that in several man-made, manually constructed hills in the formerly flat open field. So here's the kicker here. This entire transformation cost approximately $10 million to perform. $10 million. If you want to get precise, it was 9.7, but let's call it 10 for easier numbers' sake here. And of that 10 million, about 6 million of it came from federal taxpayer money, came from
Nice.
federal funds.
You paid for it, John.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
And the rest came
nobody asked
from
me.
yeah. The rest came from Chicago. So, what do you guys think of that?
Well,
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Out of words for that, really.
But, we made some calculations before the show here today, and $10 million, what did we come up with? We could probably pay for full training of 1,200 pilots, private pilots.
Right. Figuring out, yeah. And, not to mention the revenue these airports bring in other ways. The people just aren't looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at their little, I know the airport that we go up around, the locals are afraid of putting a little more runway on there. They're not thinking it'll make it safer. They're thinking about the loud planes come in, but they bring in the business,
But, John, that wasn't even a noise issue because city of Chicago makes more noise than that airport did.
The airport should be complaining, hey, city, keep it down.
Yeah, right. That's a pretty loud city.
True. When they closed Meg, it was due to a security obsession.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all on this 9/11 wave, and somebody came up with an idea. Wait a second, there's an small airport here, so somebody could fly Cessna and do something to it. And literally, what they did, they went on runways with bulldozers, and they bulldozed runways. So can you imagine that you're on cross-country flight? It was done overnight, and let's say you're on long cross-country. Let's say I'm flying from Boston to Meigs. And I'm arriving there at the moment that runway is closing.
Yeah,
that was without any NOTAMs, without anything. Somebody should go to jail for that. And of course, nobody did. They spent $10 million and nobody's complaining besides us here.
Right. Wow.
And that's an awful lot of money to spend on an airport that was, or anything that was closed in that fashion. I mean, geez,
On killing something.
Yeah.
Because we're not creating anything. We are, destroying something that, it was a landmark.
Yeah. It was a beautiful airport. I mean, I'm looking at some photos of it, and man, what a shame. I wish I could have flown into there. It looked like a beautifully done airport.
Yeah.
And it was on its own little peninsula there. I don't think it was really bothering anybody, but it's just, wow, what a shame,
So in a good fashion, I believe Santa Monica wants to do the same. They took example from Meigs there, and they said, wow, let's do the same thing.
So, yeah, Santa Monica's been in limbo for a while now, and their city council, surprise, surprise, is completely against that airport, and they want to gain control of it, and they want to shut it down. But I did not realize how high of a priority this is until I've read this article. So apparently on August 23rd, the city council had a meeting, a special meeting to make their list of priorities. And of 12 options, the top option selected was securing control of city land. And I'm quoting this precisely from the article here. I'm quoting exactly. Addressing the homelessness problem was given secondary consideration.
Yeah, the priorities.
Airports, big problem.
It's just 6 miles north of LAX. You imagine some of the load it may be taken off LAX. That's pretty close in. And LAX is a huge, huge major airport. Probably one of the top 20 in the world. And here you got a nice little airport that's been there years.
Santa Monica, it's pretty much a gateway, just like Norwood to Boston.
Right, exactly.
It's a gateway airport. So, but, I guess their thinking is if they are going to open a park there, then that's going to take care of the homelessness problem, right?
Right, yeah.
They're going to put homeless people in the park, and it's all fine.
You bring up an interesting point, though, John, that it's proximity to LAX. A lot of people, get an airspace lesson in here while we're teaching. A lot of people that are anti-airport, got to realize that these airports, like Santa Monica and these smaller airports, the airspace that they provide, the how high that has to go, actually does something to keep traffic flows from the big major international airport high up and away from
That's true.
So if they might end up getting, be careful what you wish for. If you close the airport and you have no airspace there anymore.
And all of a sudden LAX changes their procedures for landing on,
But that shocked me at how high of a priority this is to them, and especially since apparently a lot of the reports I've been hearing is it's a very vocal minority of people in the community of Santa Monica that are taking this airport issue up.
Go ahead, John.
I'm just saying I'm surprised too, because being Santa Monica, I'm surprised there's people advocating that own some of the owned aircraft there. I mean, that's I'm sure a lot of the big shots go into Santa Monica when they don't want to go into LAX. The Hollywood set. I'm surprised that they haven't had any voice or any input. I mean, this is really that's La La Land, as they say, and how the rich and famous have effect on all aspects of industry. I'm surprised they didn't scream about this one, because this means, you mean I got to go into, for selfish, stupid reasons maybe, but now they got to go into LAX. So if not Santa Monica, maybe Long Beach to the south. Hey guys, remember? I know we're short on time, but on a light note, remember we talked about an airport in Southern California that was one of the few GA airports that were actually the town was behind it. Remember that they were going to expand a bit, and maybe we'll get into that next week and just it show the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Why does that? Why are there some airports that people have still? There was still a silent majority of some people, I imagine. There's thousands of GA airports in this country that want to have it, that want to strengthen it, but.
On your point, John, Harrison Ford flies out of that airport, if I'm not mistaken. Harrison, as a matter of fact, that was where he was trying to land when that famous crash happened.
Was it Carter by the Sea, or it was like down near San Clemente somewhere? But anyway, there was another side to it. But we're sorry to hear about Santa Monica. That's crazy. It looks like they're going to lose. They've been fighting for a long time.
Well, we wish them the best as always, but, hey, unfortunately, there's only so much we can do. But continue fighting, Santa Monica. Continue hanging together, aviation. And on that note, that's a good place to close it. So for Plane Talk, I'm Derek Lagasse.
I'm John Roberts.
And remember, checklist. I'm Radek Wyrzykowski. Until next time.
Fly safe, everybody.
Fly safe.
Thank you for listening to Plane Talk on WIMC Radio.